All right, guys, let's do a mic check here. Can everybody hear me? What is up? Let's see. I might have to ditch the glasses. What's up, guys? How's the audio? Audio is good. All right, perfect. It's the first thing we have to check every day. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of an open. Hey, good afternoon, guys. We're going to do a little bit of an open Q&A here. I'm going to go ahead and lead off with a couple of things. Hey, welcome to the party, guys. Yeah, so today we moved. We're still at the beach house. We moved from, if you guys were following, and I'm going to actually upload all of these to YouTube, and we're going to be able to host them on YouTube so that you guys are going to be able to see all of the videos that we've done this week in just one central location. But the first day we were up on the third story balcony with Crack, and then we were Bill Crackenberger, and then we were told that it's a little bit too windy, so we've got to get down. So we went down to the card table, and then after that, the next couple of days we were shooting out at the cabana. Now I'm on the second floor. It's not quite as windy today, so you know, hopefully the audio is clear, and if it's not, obviously I can move back to the cabana by the pool or go inside, but I think we're pretty good shape, especially with this mic. So with that said, obviously the season's starting in a couple weeks. I wanted to go ahead and mention, who knows if these people are following, but you know, yesterday we did a giveaway where 2 people were going to get free 2017 football preview in PDF form. So I gave away 2 of these. Valerie Costa and Sean Leahy. Those 2 people will be getting DMs from me with it as soon as I'm done with this Periscope. If you guys either now or later retweet this link, you're going to be entered once again to get. I'm going to give away 2 more copies of this in PDF form. So we're going to go ahead and do that today. Now, if you guys haven't gotten this is on Amazon. It's I spent 5 months putting this together. It goes through every team. It goes through, I mean, some of my favorite articles in here. This was my favorite one. Front office plea, increase efficiency, where I talk a lot about different tips for NFL teams to be able to increase their efficiency. So that was one of the things, because there's inefficiency is rampant throughout the NFL. So I really like helping teams improve their efficiency. I'll go ahead and start talking a couple things about both of my websites. The first one, Sharp Football Analysis, we are going to be start putting out a couple of games later this week. So if you're on board with that, you're going to be able to get that. It's a bit choppy. All right, is everybody experiencing this bit choppy with the Wi-Fi? The Wi-Fi is upstairs in the theater, so it's a little bit far away. Choppy, it's good. Give me a few more comments if you guys can. If it's too choppy, I'll move up, but so far most of you guys are saying it's good. All right, a couple more. All right, it's good for you. All right, so most people it's good. I apologize if some of you guys aren't getting it loud and clear. Again, these videos will be uploaded onto YouTube, so you're going to be able to check it out. At any rate, we are going to start getting on some games this week. Second point, on Sharp Football Stats. SharpFootballStats.com is going to be completely free this entire season. We are going to be doing My Stats, which is going to be a new site where you're going to be able to configure things within Sharp Football Stats, tailor them specifically to what you want. And My Stats is going to come out once I get back from the beach. I'm going to spend a few more days working on fixing it all up, and that's going to be probably out later next week. It'll be out before the start of the season, and it's going to allow you to customize some things, choose on one particular page everything that you want to see, from a variety of like 20 different menu items. You get to choose about 10 of them, put them up on your page so that you just go there and refresh it. You change whatever parameters you want, and it'll apply to every single of the different visualizations on that particular page. So you don't have to jump around from one viz to the next if you're trying to research and plan for the upcoming week. And this is primarily helpful for if you're playing DFS, if you're serious about researching stats, if you're betting on these games, if you're doing something more serious. That's going to be there for you, so that you can maybe do your research a little bit more efficiently. There's not going to be any special visualizations there that you can't find elsewhere on the site, but the simple fact that you're going to be able to combine everything together is going to be able to help you out immensely. And there are options, for private work. If you've got a viz that you particularly want to see, you can reach out to me. I can maybe try to construct that, but that might be a little bit down the road. But I can customize so much of this data to help you guys get the information that you need. So that's a little bit of background about both of the websites. I'll give you a quick background, and then we'll start taking questions. I've been getting a lot of questions because a lot of you guys have the book, and you've been asking questions about my voice. What was going on with my voice? What ended up happening? So I'll try to tell you that story really quickly, because I don't want to just waste our time talking about that. But bottom line is, yeah, you got it. Yeah, if you just want to be a better football fan. That's my goal for all this stuff, is to just help you guys become smarter about the game, because I don't really think that your interests of being educated to the most optimal manner are being afforded to you throughout a lot of different sites, from the mainstream broadcast or things like that. I think it's being done in a condescending manner at times because they don't think that you're as smart as you actually are. But a lot of people out there watching the games want to know more about the games, want to know more information, and there's a lot of great other sites out there. But Sharp Football Stats is a little bit unique, gives you the data in a visualized manner, has a lot of data that maybe aren't on some of the other sites. So I'm certainly not saying all the other sites aren't good. There's a lot of great other content out there, but I like the direction that we're headed with Sharp Football Stats, and so far you guys have as well. With your responses, you're liking that as well. The voice, long story short, the people who lived in the house before us hooked up, when they were living there for a couple years before they moved out, hooked up a bathroom fan. They built a basement bathroom, and that fan is supposed to be exhausted and vented directly to the outside of the house, so that all the moisture from the shower and whatnot can go straight out of the house. Well, they took a massive shortcut. Instead of venting it out of the house, when they were closing in that room, saw that the hot water heater pipe, which is a gas hot water heater pipe, ran sort of similar direction outside the house. So they just ran this pipe and tapped into the hot water heater pipe. If you're familiar at all with hot water heaters, especially gas ones, obviously it's only unique to gas hot water heaters, but there's warning labels all over them that they produce highly toxic exhaust. It contains carbon monoxide. It's extremely lethal, and this has to be vented independently outside. And so what ended up happening was, because it was vented incorrectly and the hot water heater was coming, the exhaust was coming up, leaving the house, but as it was leaving the house, it was teed off and coming back into the bathroom. There was carbon monoxide and other byproducts just filtering right into the basement bathroom, which is right next to my office, which is sort of commandeered the home theater. It has a huge projection screen, a bunch of different TVs, and I turned that into my office where I work most of the day. So I'm there from 8 a.m. at a minimum until around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. most nights working. So at any rate, they installed a new hot water heater that was more powerful with a bigger fan, and just a couple days after that, my voice was completely gone. It destroyed a lot of the tissue down in my throat, and especially the vocal cords. I couldn't even whisper. It started there, I was able to whisper for a day, and then there was nothing. That lasted about a month. Long story short, I got it back for a little bit, lost it again. I was out for another month. So this is basically most of June. Got it back a little bit right around the start of July. Lost it again for a month, and I've just started to get it back. I was seeing some specialists at Johns Hopkins, which, if you guys don't know, that's one of the best doctor units, hospital centers in the entire country. They're up in Baltimore, so I was seeing some specialists there, doing a lot of different vocal exercises to get it back. So the voice, I can talk again. It hurts every time I swallow. So it still bothers me. There's still lingering effects from it, but at least I can talk now and communicate with you guys. And so I think we're going to be in good shape for the season. That's really what I wanted. I wanted to get back in shape to be able to talk to you guys so we can do these, all my podcasts, all the different media that I'm going to be doing this season. So I think we're going to be in good shape for that. There are not going to be any issues with that whatsoever. So I'm excited to be able to do that. I'm thankful that my wife, my kids, obviously everybody else was healthy, and I'm thankful that nothing permanently terrible happened to me. So we're in good shape, but I appreciate all the comments and feedback that I've been getting. There's been a lot of questions. How's your voice? Is everything okay? So long story short, it's okay right now. Still hurts to swallow, but my voice is, I can't talk forever though. So at any rate, we caught it safely. If we didn't catch it then, there's a possibility obviously that it could have died from it. There's not a whole lot of research about short-term exposure to long-term exposure to low doses of carbon monoxide. Most of the time people get exposed via like a car or some sort of generator and they die right then and there. There's not a lot of research about somebody. The HVAC guys came out and said they've never seen anybody even try to hook up something like this. It's just it's completely unsafe. It's never happened before to any of the guys that I've talked to where anybody would attempt to do that connection. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start answering some of your guys' questions about the season, about whatever. Feel free to throw it up. I'll jot some notes down as I'm trying to respond. We're going to try to keep this condensed since I'm the only one talking. I don't want to be talking forever. It'll mess up my voice, but let's go ahead. All right, Denver's offensive line. They might be slightly better than last year, but I'm still not extremely optimistic about that offense whatsoever. I think that offense is extremely problematic, and they're going to rely on their defense just like they have been doing. They're still Denver. They're still a decent team. I'm interested to see the change of when now that Wade Phillips is not there anymore. But I think this is going to be an interesting team overall. I think the division, I got a lot of teams falling back in this division from my projections. So I don't think Denver maybe hits their win total, but that's what I think about their prospects overall. Go ahead, keep firing them up. If I can't get to yours, just ask it a few times. AFC North behind the Steelers. That's a good question. I think that the AFC North is probably going to be Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland in that order. Cutler effective in Miami. Yeah, he's going to be adequate, but what is adequate? I think he's going to be worse than Ryan Tannehill. I think they're going to rely a lot on the run game. I think he's going to throw some pretty bad interceptions at times. I think he's going to overall, if you're going to say does he hurt or help the team, it's really hard to say. I think it's almost like a week-to-week basis. Would I rather have Cutler or his backup there? It's kind of hard to say because sometimes they're going to need Cutler to make some of those throws, but other times he might cost them. Rookie running back, I think Dalvin Cook personally. Fournette obviously is the more talented running back, I guess, but he's got injuries and he's got other problems. Ajayi, I'm bigger on Ajayi than... See, a lot of people were big on Ajayi last year. I was down on Ajayi because of his lack of efficiency, and efficiency matters so much to wins and losses in the NFL. I think Ajayi is going to be a lot better this year. I missed the rookie question. Houston going to have a dominant defense. I think they're going to be better, but the quarterback can't put him in negative positions. Same thing with any defense. But I wonder about Houston's secondary, but having J.J. Watt up there again, healthy to rush the passer, is never a bad thing. Go ahead, I missed any of the others, so keep firing them back. Take off-season moves into your week 1 and 2 analysis. Well, a lot. I mean, off-season, I don't really look. A lot of people from their statistical models and things like that carry over last year into this year. So much changes for me that I don't even do that. I don't even like to look a lot about what a team was doing last year because every single game that's played, like week 1, you have two completely different teams. Even if like one team is like 80% the same as what they were last year and all the coordinators and coaches and key players are still there, they're still not 100% like they were at the end of last year, which is what those last final end of the year metrics take into consideration. There's injuries, there's a lot of different things that happen from year to year. Then you factor in that they're playing another team, and that other team might be different than what they were last year too. So taking like last year and saying anything is very difficult. I start with a clean slate. I research the hell out of stats and metrics and do a lot of work in the off season, as this book shows, and I come up with my totally brand new projection. So I weight a lot of what happens in the off season into what I do. Sneaky week 1 offense. I don't have that right now. I'm not going to kind of give any tips right now about week 1 specifically, because we're looking to attack week 1, and then I'll share some of that later. Wentz will continue to ascend. The Eagles defense, I'm glad they got a new cornerback in there. Their front 7 is very good. I'm bigger on Wentz than a lot of people are for this upcoming season. I didn't love him last year. He struggled tremendously on the road. Go ahead and look at his home road splits. Everybody's talking about Big Ben. Go ahead and look at what Wentz did on the road last year. So I hope that he improves on the road, because that's what they're going to need to do if they're going to hit and exceed their win total. Better. Falcons defense better. Trufant should be healthy. Another year in Dan Quinn's system. I think the Falcons defense is definitely going to be better. Plus, the other thing, if the Falcons offense takes a step back under Sarkisian, then they're going to have the ball for a little bit longer, and other teams are going to be trying to score in 2 minutes to catch up to 21-point deficits. I've never looked at correlation between price of offensive line and how good they are. I do think that the offensive line behind the quarterback, the offensive line as a whole, is the second most important unit on the offense. To me, they're more important than the skill positions, and I know that might be an atrocity to hear to some people or outrageous, but I think the skill positions and linebackers are the most replaceable people in today's football. I think defensively it's about the secondary and the pass rush, and offensively it's about the quarterback and the offensive line. I don't know about Blunt. That's one of my biggest question marks about the Eagles offense. I just kind of mentioned some of the positions that I value. Obviously pass rush, obviously pass defense. If you have a guy like Richard Sherman and he can take away sides of the field and make offenses change their game plans just by one guy, that's always huge. Yeah, O-line. He could be. Chris Carson, dark horse in fantasy, I definitely think that he could be. Well, Woodhead got injured. I think I was reading either today he got injured or yesterday, and they're holding him out until week 1. It's tough, man. That offense is tough, but I do like Woodhead. I don't like Flacco this year, but I like Woodhead. Yeah, look, Sherman's getting a little bit older. His quickness is going to be compromised a little bit. Eventually, he is going to be somewhere on the downward slope of his career. Having Earl Thomas is going to make him look a lot better, of course. If you're trying to grade out, that's the thing about like these full season stats or full season grades. If you're going to try, I posted this in the book. Where is it here? Take a look at page 13 in the book, right here. The value of Earl Thomas. It's continued on to page 14. Earl Thomas made a big difference in this team. And if you're going to just factor in what Richard Sherman did over the course of the entire season from his grade and not take into account that Earl Thomas wasn't there for some time, that's a big problem. No college plays this weekend. So if you guys did get on board for the full season pass, it says it in the on the descriptions on the website, but my college totals don't start until week 3. And that's a good thing to raise right now if we're going to talk about betting picks and things of that nature. Come back to me in a second on these 2 questions. Let me get this out and then come back to me on that. My models start generally week 3 of each season. NFL, I start week 1, but I'm not giving you my computer totals week 1. I'll be giving you totals if I think that there's value based on matchups solely. Starting week 3, that's when I implement my computer program a little bit more. So I'm going to be on a number of games, as you're going to see week 1 throughout the course of this week and into next week. Once these week 3 games are over, we're going to start attacking. So, but the computer totals, those are actually going to start coming out week 3. And those are the strongest selections that I offer, but I've had a great track record weeks 1 and 2. College football database, maybe. It's just so hard. College football changes all the time that, and there's such a small sample size every single year that I don't think it's going to be quite as useful or effective as the NFL one. Full season for who? Who's the guy? Am I expecting a full season for somebody? I don't know. Somebody was asking about Dalvin Cook. I like Dalvin Cook because I like the Minnesota Vikings offense. I like this offense, and I think Dalvin will be a lot better than a lot of the other running backs drafted near him. I missed the end of that question. If my analysis correlates better with NFL something. I apologize. I guess you're going to have to type that one in again. I'm sorry. The new regime is trying to get their salary cap in order so they can figure out how to build a team around a good quarterback. And I don't think they know that good quarterback is Tyrod Taylor. So they're just trying to cut bait and start from scratch, and it starts with a quarterback, so they're going to have to get a quarterback in there. And having a bad record generally allows you to land a better quarterback. So if that is their true strategy, then it's going to be best for the Bills long term. It sucks right now if you're a Bills fan and you were looking forward to things heading into this season in April and May, and you saw some of the free agents they got, but yeah. Chargers offense good this year. I like them. I like the Chargers offense this year. The problem is, Philip, from a win-loss perspective and from a production standpoint, ATS standpoint, Philip Rivers can kill you at times as a quarterback with some of the interceptions or the boneheaded mistakes that he makes. But he's still one of my favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. When he's on, he's on. They've got tons of talent surrounding him. I think their offense is going to be good. So I like him a little bit more for fantasy this year than I do for real football. But I'm bigger on the Chargers than some people are. But I know they're getting a lot of hype from some corners as well, and I like them, but I'm not, going crazy about them this year. They don't have many weapons up in Buffalo right now, so they're going to have to use Jordan Matthews. So he's probably going to get, as long as he's healthy, his target share should be pretty good. And they need somebody to catch the ball in the red zone when they get down there. How should we watch football games to be more analytical? What should we pay more attention to? I'll just tell you one thing that I pay attention to. First of all, I'll give you 2 things. These 2 things should help you out a lot. As soon as the ball is snapped, don't look at the wide receivers, don't look at the quarterback, look at the lines. You'll easily be able to see whether the offensive line is in pass protection or run, or going to be running the ball. So that's the quickest way to figure out what the real play call is. So then you can start thinking ahead, what should I be looking for? So once you see the play call, understand that. But also the offensive line, see who's winning that battle at the point of attack, offensive line or defensive line, because that goes a long way towards the overall game in general. So that's the first thing, is study the lines, which a lot of people in this era of football want to look at the stars and the quarterbacks and that sort of thing. The second thing is early down success rate. Don't worry about third down metrics that they post, who's doing this on third down. Look at how many first downs a team has and how many times they're going to third down, and see what that ratio is. That's going to help you understand efficiency a lot quicker. And generally speaking, the team that wins that early down success rate battle, as long as turnovers are even, or +1 or -1, it's not a big margin, the early down success rate is going to dictate a lot in the NFL. It's funny to say which new coach. I do think Buffalo made a good decision with bringing in their new head coach, but impact this year, probably not so much. That's a good question. They did overachieve last year based on their drawbacks and the things that they incurred, but they had severe deficiencies, and if those deficiencies can get better, they're going to be a lot better. Deficiencies meaning majorly injured offensive line and a quarterback who was brought in the last minute and had to deal with 2 offensive coordinators during the season. They're not going to have those problems this year, hopefully. So I think they are ascending, but they overachieved last year. So if that makes any sense. It's tough. It's tough. The situation is tough. Fortunately, neither of them are really too expensive. So I don't think you're going to cost yourself going for either one, but I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I missed that last question. Overrated by what means? They've got a very good offensive line there, and they're going to be somewhat balanced. So I think Marshawn Lynch could be okay if he stays healthy. I don't like getting a guy who missed the entire year last year. But I'm kind of neutral on Lynch. I don't think I'm not in love with the guy. If he falls to me, I'll get him in drafts, but I do have a little bit concerns as to whether he'll last all season. Yeah, draft position. I would say if he falls to me, I'll take him. If I'm at a point in the draft where I need to grab a running back and it's not a tremendous waste of value and he's there and I need one, I would take him. But I'm certainly not going to take him at his ADP or higher. Look, if Paxton Lynch stinks as bad as everybody's saying he does, then you got to go with Simeon. Simeon can do some things. He's got to improve his decision making. His decision making in the red zone sucked last year. That's where he's got to be better, and that could help the team a lot. DeAndre Washington did have some pretty good, if you look at the rushing success over average on the Sharp Football Stats website, DeAndre was pretty good last year. All right, who is this guy? Bornovial 69. Type your question. I'll see when it pops up. I'll get you next time, buddy. I apologize. Your letter won't get here. Tank or tank bust. I mean, they appear to be tanking. I think the players who are playing the games are obviously going to try hard, but they just don't have as much talent. So what can you do? I don't know what you mean by tank bust. Like as if they're not going to tank. I mean, I don't know if they're going to specifically throw games or anything like that. Saints backfield is crowded. Saints backfield is a problem, but it just depends who's going to get the touches. I like Alvin Kamara coming out as like the third down back. I think he's going to be very effective in that role. But it's a very small role for him. Adrian Peterson, they're going to hand the ball off to him. He's going to get touches. He was brought in there for a reason. So I don't know. It obviously muddies the water having both those guys added to that backfield. But it's going to be tough. They're still going to be passing the ball a lot this year because their defense is going to be bad. Yeah, I mean, Casey's defense is going to be pretty good. I don't think they're as high as I wrote in the preview. I don't think they're as high as their average draft position based on the schedule of teams that they're facing. But they could be good this year. Hey, he showed some burst a little bit in the preseason. I'm not super high on Doug Martin any longer. The muscle hamster, we just haven't seen enough from him lately. But I don't like the way the coach is talking on Hard Knocks when Jameis throws a pick about him being super conservative. We've got a good defense and a good team. You can't be, obviously coaches don't want turnovers, but this is not like a running league anymore, and you can't be conservative on offense anymore because other offenses aren't conservative, and the good teams that you're trying to beat have good offenses, and they're not going to be playing conservative. So you've got to be somewhat aggressive. Doesn't mean stupid. It just means smart about things. You can't bring in Deshaun Jackson and not throw the ball deep. So I assume they're going to smarten up, but I just don't like a coach telling his quarterback that stuff. Who wins the East and what's the record? Good question. I think the Eagles have a sleeper shot at winning the East. I'm not really as high on the Giants as some people. It's going to be a very competitive division. I could see all the teams doing 7-9 or better. Like they're obviously not all going to do 7-9, but I think in that range. I don't think we're going to have like a 14 or 13 win team from the East. My background, I'm a civil engineer. Went to school. I'm a licensed professional engineer. I've been doing this for engineering for 20 plus years. I love math, statistics, analytics. All right, guys, a couple more. I didn't see that one guy pop back up here. We'll just do a couple more questions. If the guy wants to pop back up in the next 2 minutes with his question, I will definitely answer it. Yeah, the Eagles' run game's a problem. That's the issue. But I think their defense can be okay, and I like Wentz's ability to progress. I think I like McCoy better because he's going to be more involved in that offense, but I almost think Gordon might have more opportunity to score touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, Detroit is way too pass heavy. They were way too pass heavy last year. They need to be a little bit more balanced. Raiders defense, I'm not sold on the Raiders defense. I think they're okay. Derek Carr, yes, he should keep getting better. I'm not quite as big on Carr as some people are, but I mean, he's still young. He should continue to develop. I think their win total is a little bit optimistic. Yeah, I mean, Murray's going to get a lot of opportunity to work in Tennessee. I think I like Murray's chances there, as long as they don't start throwing the ball a ton at the goal line. Patriots, to me, they can name their win total. They're a great team this year. Favorite off-season move? That's hard to say because I generally judge things more long-term, and I generally hate free agency. I think the Patriots made a really smart move in bringing in two running backs that ranked number 1 and number 2 in my success rate models and my some of my other statistical models. I don't have a favorite team. Back when I was growing up, I had a couple favorite teams, but I'm a fan of efficiency. So I root for seeing efficient play calls and watching good offense and good defense. I like watching efficient football. So each week, because I'm betting, because I'm doing other things, I'm rooting for different teams, and there's no chance that I would root for a specific team. O-line to exploit. What do you mean by that? Take a defense? I'm not sure your question. What? Exploiting an offensive line. You mean fading a player or taking a defense against that offensive line? I'm not going to give out my Super Bowl picks right now. I might give some futures later, but not right now on Periscope. All right, guys, next question is the last one, and then we're going to wrap it up. We've got Brad Evans tomorrow from Yahoo.com, Yahoo Fantasy. He's going to be on our show. So we're going to have a good show tomorrow again, too. Today we just had a lull. Brad moved from Wednesday to Thursday, so we had a lull, and I just did Q&A. Hopefully this gives you guys some opportunity to get some questions answered. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you tuning in, and thanks for checking out another day, Sharp Football Analysis Beach Week. And stay tuned tomorrow. We got Brad Evans, and we'll talk to you then, guys. Have a great day.